of all your worldly possessions. Sell them or give them to the poor and needy or donate them to the monastery. You may not enter this place burdened by worldly goods. Inside the gatehouse is a trunk in which you will find monk's robes. Put away all your possessions and dress yourself in the habit. Then you may rest a while I go and see the prior to arrange matters for your acceptance.
See you later. Damn! What was that? No. Look. Must be the
Strange
wind.
feeling being without all of that.
Aren't
I didn't
you meant
realise
to
how
be in
much
the
I've grown
monastery,
used to
lad?
it.
Everything's prepared. It's time for you to take your vows.
Do I really have to wear this?
You'd better get used to it. You'll be wearing it for the rest of your life.
Brothers in Christ, we have gathered here today to welcome a new novice into our midst. Dear brother, forget your former life and embrace your new vocation in the community of the monks of St. Benedict. Opus Dei, obedientia, obprobria, the service of God, obedience, and endurance of all discomfort. These are the cornerstones and succor of our order, which on this day shall become your own. Suscipe me, Domine, secundum eloquium tuum et vivam. Et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Suscipe me, Domine, secundum in loquium tuum vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Accept your new name, Brother Gregor, and wear it with honor. Welcome, brother.
Welcome, brother. I am Antonius, a novice like you. I've been instructed to guide you around the monastery and tell you what you can expect and what your duties will be.
Thanks for helping me out during the ceremony. I had no idea what I was supposed to do.
You don't know Latin, do you? Don't worry. Work in the scriptorium will teach you fast enough. Why exactly are you here? Was it your choice? Or did someone force you to come?
Being here in the monastery is my dream come true. Being a monk is so exciting.
Well, no one's ever said that before. I'm curious if you'll still be singing the same tune in a month's time.
Would you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a novice and I'm here because I'd make a poor merchant. I like books and I want an education. Although I must say, so far the monastic life's been quite unexpected.
Is it alright if we don't do the tour?
I thought that since you're literally a complete novice, you'd be interested to know what you have to do tomorrow. But if you don't want to come with me, I won't force you. Here's a letter from the prior with the daily schedule. Read it and observe it.
Let's go then.
Good. But before we do, here's a letter directly from the prior telling you all your regular duties from tomorrow onwards. Make sure to read it this evening, so you know how things work. Right, we can go now. Follow me closely. I'll explain everything as we go. Remember one word: discipline. It's your job to work and pray. You serve the Lord, not your own body.
I wish all good health upon it. I want change. And only a new habit can bring that. Waiting is off. There's no hope. Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
This is the way to the dormitory, where we all sleep. You'll find a free bed there, which is now yours. Do you know the first thing the monastery taught me? To appreciate sleep. We rise before dawn every day. Takes a bit of getting used to. This is the garden, a place for silent contemplation and meditation.
It occurs to me you might be the man to ask. I'm looking for some lockpicks. Do you know anyone in the monastery who could help me?
Lockpicks? You surprise me, brother. And you, a nobleman's son. But you could ask Brother Celerius. They say he used to be a thief.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Truthfully, everyone except us. But officially, Abbot Peter. And soon enough, someone else. As if it mattered. Our life will still be work and prayer.
I see. Are there any rifts between the brothers?
Yes. From the moment talk began about electing a new abbot, it's been like a hornet's nest here. Strange you haven't noticed.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
Abbot Peter is old. When he dies, they'll have to select a new abbot from amongst the brethren. The candidates are John and Nevlas. And if you ask me for my opinion, Nevlas is definitely the right man. Unfortunately, no one cares about my opinion because novices get no say.
Tell me something about life here.
Work, prayer, as if you didn't know. We serve God, and that's the central truth of our lives.
Who's in charge of things?
Truthfully, everyone except...
Are there already candidates to be the new abbot?
Brothers John and Nevlas.
This John, who is he?
A circator, and really just an unpleasant old man. It's mostly the older brothers on his side, because they believe he'll protect the status quo and all the benefits that come with long service here.
Tell me something about Nevlas.
Nevlas manages the monastery's property. He's what they call the provost. He'd like to bring back solemnity to the monastery through reform and by returning to pure faith. A lovely idea, but most of the monks are against it.
Why can't novices vote?
They say we don't have enough experience to decide about anything. Don't worry, we'll get our chance.
Why is who wins so important?
We're young and we'll spend the rest of our lives here. And the abbot decides everything about our lives. Didn't it ever occur to you how powerful he is?
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Someone takes care of the library, someone else the garden. The abbot supervises everyone, and in his absence, the prior. But it's the circators you should worry about. They're the brothers who'll make sure we observe the rule. They can be quite strict, so if you want to avoid getting punished, always act righteously and do your duties honestly.
Who would you choose as the new abbot if you could?
Why should I even think about that when I don't have the right to vote? Gregor, don't go poking your nose into other people's business. You'll sleep better at night.
I'd like to ask you something. Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother.
Peace be with you, brother.
Here are the frattery and scriptorium, together with the library. These are the places where we work. Ora et labora. Pray and work. As a novice, you must always listen to your superior brethren. And above us monks are the prior and the circators, who punish every infraction. You'll know them by the canes they carry. Do what they say. This is the refectory, where we come together to eat. During meals, you must be silent. Only one brother reads aloud from the Rule of Saint Benedict.
The rule is the only law we recognize, with the exception of those from God himself. If you break any of its precepts, expect a swift punishment. But I've already told you about the circuitors. The library, the pride of our monastery, a trove of learning. We don't just read books here, we also copy them. You too will learn how. And that's all. Today you are still free from duty, but tomorrow you begin work like the others. If you need anything, ask any of the brothers. We'll be glad to help you. And I recommend you get to know the other novices. You already know me. Then there is Siskin, Yodok, and Lucas.
Thanks for showing me around. There's a lot to learn here. I need to make a confession.
I'm no priest, but tell me what you've done. It's probably nothing to worry about.
I'm here in the monastery looking for a thief. He had a hand in burning down the Neuhof stud.
You don't say. And who are you to take such an interest?
That's not important.
Why are you telling me this anyway? What do you want from me?
Perhaps you could help me find him?
The missing thief? If I knew anything, I'd tell you, but I suppose it must be one of the novices. I've only recently heard about the Neuhof incident, and all the other brethren have been here much longer than that.
I know. Aside from me, there are only 4 novices, but still I don't know which one he could be.
3? Please, leave me out of it. And you're right that it could be any one of them. No one knows anything about Lucas. Siskin might be a lot of things, but a monk isn't one of them. And Yodok is a slimy worm. It wouldn't surprise me if he was behind that massacre. Actually, the more I think about it, the less I like that Yodok. He's a treacherous rat who'd do anything to get in someone's good books. The thought of Yodok at Neuhof sends chills up my spine.
Maybe you're right. It's not a pretty thought. Thanks for your help, and please don't say a word to anyone.
Don't fret, my friend. Your secrets are locked inside my lips.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's not much to tell. I lived in Vlashim, and after my father died, I found out I wasn't much of a merchant. So I left the shop to my brother and decided to become a monk. It's peaceful here. There's food and lots of time to read.
So you chose to come here?
It may seem strange, but I'm one of the few novices that did. I might be the only one. The truth is, the idea of spending my life in a monastery was more appealing than being cooped up in a greasy old shop.
I know you're pious. The man I've been looking for.
So you're finally sure? Tell me, Gregor, or Karl, or whatever your true name is. What do you want to do now?
I should kill you.
And why would you want to do that? Because that's what they told you to do. I was a bandit, and I was at Neuhof. I've robbed and stolen, but I swear to God I've never in my life slain innocent people. What I saw at Neuhof made me realize my life was worth shit, but I still had a chance to change for the better. Here in the monastery I've had plenty of time to think things over, but then you showed up and fucked it all up.
So the evildoer changes his ways and finds God. What exactly are you proposing?
Both of us can leave this place. You can go back to your people, and I can go somewhere where I can live out my life in peace and no one will try to kill me. If we work together, we can both get what we want.
What if I wanted a different option?
You could kill another novice, I suppose. If news of the murder got out from the monastery, my former friends might believe I'm dead. But I'm offering you a solution that doesn't require any killing. Before we make a run for it, we'll make it look like someone's killed me. Loads of blood, a tattered scrap of my habit, and footprints leading towards the river. No one will bother looking for my body there. There we'll split up. You go for your bounty, and I'll get as far away from here as I can.
Good. Let's do it your way.
Good. I'm glad that despite our initial discord, we could reach an agreement. Here, take something to calm your stomach. Now we'll need the keys to the monastery and some blood to make the tracks.
What are you going to do?
I need to get ready for a long journey. Prepare supplies, get some normal clothing somehow, that sort of thing. You can escape in that habit, but I need to vanish as fast as I can.
What do I need the keys to the monastery for?
How else will we get out? This place is practically a prison.
Getting the keys won't be easy.
I know, but Brother Salarius is a reformed thief. I'll bet he still has a few lockpicks lying about. If you know how to use them, they'll be worth finding. Or there's the hard way. Steal the keys from the prior. He carries them with him at all times.
They both sound hard to me. But needs must. And where am I supposed to get my hands on blood in a monastery?
You'll find a parchment in the kitchen with a list of ingredients on it. All the things they're ordering. Add blood for making soup to the list. And when it's delivered the next day, take it before anyone notices it's even come.
All right, that's everything I need to know. I can get started.
Excellent. Come and see me once you have everything. And try to be as fast as you can. And Gregor, thank you.
forbidden books must be in that
Interested in
cabinet.
what's inside? Forbidden books, written by the devil himself. Forget about them. Don't even look at that cabinet. It contains forbidden books. Praise be to Christ, brother.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. But I've no time for idle chat. I transcribe books from dawn till dusk. I've been doing it for years and I'll be doing it till the day I die.
What, you do nothing else?
It is my penance and my blessing. And now, brother, if you don't mind, I'd like to get this page finished. Praise be to Christ, brother.
I'd like to ask about something.
Can't you see I'm working? Ask someone else.
God be with you.
I've read one of the manuscripts copied by one of the novices.
Talk to me, brother.
I think I'm going to cry. It's that touching, is it?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
Infuriating, a horrible, abominable waste of parchment. Young people have no respect for writing these days. But they'll learn. We were no different.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I have everything we need for the escape.
Show me. No, you don't have everything. You don't have the goat skin of blood. Move. Is that right?
Look what I've got for you. You'll love this. Heal. Good boy. That's my boy. Let's see what you can sniff out here. Seek. No one's a match for me and you, eh? Back to the mill. Ho!
Can't you see we are at Mass?
Not now, brother. After Mass.
Servus. The Rule of Saint Benedict. Reading from the Spirit of For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciple's part is to be silent and to listen. And for that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission inspired by reverence. But as for coarse jests and idle words, or words that move to laughter, these we condemn everywhere with a perpetual ban. And for such conversation we do not permit a disciple to open his mouth. The Rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the Spirit of Silence. Let us do what the prophet says. I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humbled and kept silence even from good things. Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech, so much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since the spirit of silence is so important, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be for good, holy, edifying conversation. For it is written, in much speaking you will not escape sin. And in another place, death and life are in the power of the tongue. For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciple's part is to be silent and to listen. And for that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission inspired by reverence. But as for coarse jests and idle words, or words that move to laughter,
These we condemn everywhere with a perpetual ban. And for such conversation we do not permit a disciple to open his mouth. The rule of Saint Benedict.
Talk to me, brother.
Readings on daily manual labor. Idleness is the enemy.
I have everything we need for the escape.
Therefore, the brethren should be occupied at certain times in manual labor, and again at fixed hours in sacred reading. To that end, we think that the times for each
Show me.
prescribed
No, you don't have everything.
from Easter until the calends of October. When they come out,
Praise be to Christ, brother.
let them labor at whatever is necessary.
I have everything we...
until about the 4th hour. And from the
Excellent.
4th hour until
Straight after Vespers, we'll meet in the dormitory.
apply themselves to
We'll have to get it all done before the monks have finished dinner.
What exactly is your plan? And why can't we do it at night?
We're going to prepare a little riddle they'll never solve. And why at mealtime? Because we need the dormitory as well as the church to be empty. Then at night we'll escape. Do you follow? Take everything with you and don't forget the keys.
Good. Once evening mass ends, I'll be in the dormitory.
Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a task or craft of such a nature as to keep them from idleness and at the same time not to overburden them or drive them away with excessive toil. Their weakness must be taken into consideration by the abbot.
Talk to me, brother.
Readings on the spirit of silence.
I'd like to ask you something.
The prophet says, I said, I will guard my way, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humble, and kept silence even from good things. Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech. So
Talk to me, brother.
more ought the punishment
I'd like to ask you something.
evil words. Therefore, since the spirit of silence is so important, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples.
Can you tell me something about the...
7 centuries ago, Saint Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow today. They're read at every meal. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to serving God. The outside world beyond the monastery walls is foreign to us.
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue, and the grass is just as green. Perhaps the rulers change, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged through the ages.
Such conversation we do not permit a disciple to open his mouth.
I'm interested in the monastery's history.
It was founded by Saint Procopius 500 years ago. After his death, heretics occupied the place for some time, but then the order was restored and brothers of true faith returned.
Heretics, you say?
They wanted to worship God with some foreign rituals in a language foreign to God. They were driven away and their books burned.
Precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds. The abbot should always remember what he is and what he is called, and should know that to whom more is
Can you leave the monastery?
from him more.
Where would you go?
Let him make
You have everything you need here.
persons in the monastery.
Anyway, all the doors here are closed and locked tight so no one can get in or out.
Better in good works or in obedience, and let him not shut his eyes.
Who would you like to be the new abbot?
But
Brother John, obviously.
let him cut
And no one's interested in Nevlas and his new ideas.
soon as they begin to appear. Remembering the fate of Heli, the priest of Silence. The well-disposed and those of good understanding, let him correct with verbal admonition the first and second time. But bold, hard, proud, and disobedient characters he should curb at the very beginning of their ill-doing by stripes and other bodily punishments. Knowing that it is written,
What is it,
the
brother?
fool is not corrected with words.
I'd like to ask you...
And again, beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death.
I'd like to ask...
Rule of Saint Benedict.
Who would you like to be?
Spirit of silence.
Well, the old abbot isn't dead
The
yet.
prophet says,
It's too early to talk about elections.
I will guard my way.
But if I had to choose between the two, who are...
Guards to my mouth. I was mute and was humble and kept silence even from good things. Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech, so much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since this spirit of silence is so important, Permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be for good, holy, edifying conversation. For it is written, in much speaking you will not escape sin. And in another place, death and life are in the power of the tongue. For speaking and teaching belong to the master. The disciples' part is to be silent and to listen. And for that reason, if anything has to be asked of the superior, it should be asked with all the humility and submission inspired by reverence. But as for coarse jests and idle words or
Greetings,
words
brother.
to laugh,
I'm Gregor, and I'm new here.
Greetings to you, brother.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might...
open its mouth.
Who would you vote for as the new abbot if you could?
Why do you care? We don't have the right to vote, so we shouldn't get mixed up in it.
I'm just interested, that's all.
I like John better.
I'm Gregor, a novice. I saw you at the ceremony.
I know. It was hard.
And you are?
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
If you could.
But I can't vote, so what's the point of worry? Ask Antonius. He often talks about it, and I'm sure he has an opinion.
My name's Gregor, a novice.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although it's not important. Welcome to purgatory.
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough. Soon enough.
Who would you elect abbot if...
Most likely Nevlas. He's a fine fellow and he seems honest. But, truth be told, it doesn't matter much to me. A monastery will still be a monastery, no matter who's in charge. If you really want to talk more about it, ask Antonius.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nevlis, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's property, as well as handling trade with the outside world.
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just write lists and send them out.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life and that any surpluses go to the poor. But in reality, I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources we have left.
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin abounds here, just as in the outside world.
What sins are you talking about?
The scripture says, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." I'm sorry, Gregor, it's not my place to speak about the sins of others.
Tell me something about how the new abbot will be elected.
A new abbot has to be elected once the old one dies. All the brethren can vote, with the exception of novices. The abbot's crozier will be conferred on whoever is chosen, and he'll take the vow. When he becomes abbot, a monk spends most of his time dealing with politics outside the monastery, instead of actually leading the monastery. But he still maintains a fundamental influence on life here.
Can you tell me about Abbot Peter?
Peter's wise in the ways of politics and a good shepherd, but as you've already heard, he's old and infirm. The other brothers see him with one foot in the grave, but I still have hope for him. But you, brother, don't let yourself get involved in the games of your superiors. Could you help me with something?
With what?
I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do good. What do you say?
You can count on my help. What do you need me to do?
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now, you know, most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God, and that it's not our place to deny his will. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty to relieve people of their suffering. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the libri prohibiti, the forbidden books, those we aren't permitted to read.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices, witchcraft and all manner of evil. Or so some people claim. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine, albeit one written by a pagan. Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book is the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about the book. But the three wise men were from the East, were they not?
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. You'll easily recognize what you're looking for. The cover has not only a Latin inscription, but also Saracen letters. Bring it to me, but leave the other books there. No one will notice if one book disappears, but if more were to vanish, someone would certainly begin to look into it, which is exactly what we don't want.
Is there anything you can tell me that would help?
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpicks. But I can't tell you where or how. Perhaps Brother Celerius could help.
Why can't you do it yourself?
Because I'm one of the highest-ranking monks here, and one day I'd like to become abbot. Can you imagine me crawling around in the black of night searching for a forbidden book?
You could just ask for it.
Do you honestly think I haven't tried? Unfortunately, Librarian Cyril is a stubborn ass.
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass unwatched, you'll need to go at night. It's locked, but I'm sure you'll manage to get in. They say Brother Solarius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to make Peter's medicine. We'll soon have the election of the abbot over and done with.
Is there any way I could help you get elected? Somehow tip the scales in your favour?
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower and shout, "Vote for Neverless, vote for Neverless"?
Not exactly. You do have an opponent, John.
John isn't my opponent, he's my brother, just like you and everyone else here. We're all brothers in Christ. But there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity here in the monastery. I'd be interested to hear of anything I don't know about.
Should I find out for you what's going on around here?
Let me make this clear. I want to base my candidacy on putting things in order. But if I don't know exactly what's wrong, then my promises are just empty slogans.
Very good then. I'll find out what I can.
Thank you, brother.
What do you want me to find out?
I'd be interested to hear...
I'd like to ask you something. Is there any way I...
What would you like?
Not exactly.
John isn't... But there is some...
That doesn't sound...
Pity?
I'm interested in the
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers...
I'll be interested to know more about Brother John.
I don't like to speak ill of people, but Circuitor John is the worst person the monks could pick to represent them. He's nothing but an old schemer and pedant who preaches water but drinks wine. He's won the older brethren over because they know he won't call an end to their debauchery.
Why do you want to become abbot?
Because when I see the way things are headed around here, I have no other option. Itinerant preachers speak of the corrupted black heart of the church, and I can't deny there's truth in what they say. I'd like to change things and bring back meaning and esteem to the monastery.
That's all. Thank you.
Peace be with you, brother. What is it, brother?
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. Today's task, 2 cockerel potions. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done so I can check them. Peace be with you, brother.
These novices. I'd pull those idlers by the ears. What have they done to you this time, brother? you have to finish someone's weeding in the garden again?
Yet again. I've had enough of it.
Ora pro nobis sancta Dei genetrix, und digni efficiamur promissionibus Christi.
Vade retro satana, nuquam suade mihi vana, sunt mala quae vivas ipse. What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book.
The words mean nothing to me. Ask in the library.
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices.
What would you like?
I'd like to ask you... Are there ever any
Unfortunately, yes.
Tell me something about...
Well, the old abbot is practically on his deathbed.
I'd like to know about Nevlas.
Nevlas manages the monastery's properties. He doesn't have the most experience, but his drive and heart are pure. His faith firm, and his ideas rational. Although perhaps he's too keen to change our routines here, which many brothers don't like.
Tell me about John.
John is Cicator and the oldest brother here. It would be only natural if he took the crozier from Peter. He has experience, merit, and composure. He'd lead the monastery wisely.
Why does it matter so?
Because the future. The older brother...
I thought politics...
You're right.
Who would you like to be?
Well, the old abbot isn't dead yet. It's too early.
What troubles you?
I'd like to ask you something about them.
Ah, Gregor.
I'd like to ask you something.
God be with you. ut digni efficiamur promissionibus Christi.
Someone's been creeping around in the corridor at night. What am I saying, creeping? He was stomping about like a bear.
That must have been Brother Sir Cato. He can't sleep and prays long into the night.
Lord in heaven, what have you done now?
Brother? Stealing is a sin. You should know that as a Christian, and certainly as a monk. Even if I wanted to forgive you, I couldn't. Thou shalt not steal.
Very well, brother. I accept my punishment.
Now, show me what you have on you. I must confiscate anything that is not allowed in the monastery.
While I was locked up, someone was making quite a racket in the cellar. Blind drunk, I'm sure of it. I wonder what's been going on.
Peace be with you, brother.
Be well.
Can't you see we are at Mass?
Can't you see we are at Mass?
What would you like?
I'd be interested to hear what can you tell me about Sis?
That there's no man alive less suitable for the monastic life than him.
You don't know young Lord Capon.
I've heard things. Siskin must have been like him. Fighting, drinking, fornicating.
Why is he in the monastery?
No one knows. Maybe he's hiding from something. Or maybe...
Do you think he has a secret?
Don't we all? But unlike the others, he absolutely refuses to speak about his...
That's all I wanted to know. What about Yodok?
Be on good terms with him. If you show even the slightest hint you don't like, he's a slimy little pedant who'll rat you out to the superiors. Once he finishes his novitiate, I imagine he'll want to climb his way up the ladder to at least Sir Cater. He's a man.
I'm interested in Luke.
No one knows much about him. He doesn't talk to anyone. He works, eats, sleeps, then does it all again the next. It's as if he wanted to get it all over with as soon as possible. By it, I mean his entire life.
That's all. Thanks.
delay. This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer. They are professed, and the fear of hell. Delay in executing it, but this very obedience will be accepted. And only if what is commanded is done without hesitation.
Praise be to Christ.
I'm here to work.
Excellent. Today's task, once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. What troubles you?
I finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices. God be with you.
Non sigempi, non sixitam cum purge, tango icet bengus.
Talk to me, brother.
I'd like to ask you.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I've heard there is some forbidden book.
That's correct.
What if I just wanted to take a peek? Could I?
You could not. They are libri prohibiti, and the only people permitted access to them are the abbot and I. Although I see no reason why he or I would ever want to read them.
Not even if I were to beg or promise a favor in return?
If you could prove to me that you truly like books, then maybe.
Could a book be prohibited?
No errors are made.
How does a book get on?
Forbidden works are full of heresy and blasphemy and witchcraft.
I don't need to hear anything else. I've heard about Avicenna's Book of Medicine. Could I see it?
Who told you about that?
Is it possible to learn something about the other novices in the library?
Only the abbot and the prior keep such records.
And can I see them?
No. The abbot writes and keeps his records in his chambers and are only...
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book. Do you know what it is?
It appears to be a page torn out of Ovid.
Ovid? What is that? Is it the name of a book?
Not what, but who? Ovid was a great Roman poet. We have a few volumes by him in the library, but one of them vanished one day. Now I believe I can guess what happened. Brother Eustace, may the earth rest lightly on him, was quite narrow-minded when it came to classical literature. If a book had any mention of woman at all, he condemned it as a heretical work. If he'd had his way, all such books would have been burned. Ovid's The Art of Love must have been such a thorn in his side that he stole it from the library, tore it up, and hid the pages wherever he could.
Oh, would you like me to put the book back together again?
Absolutely. Eustace's wits weren't the sharpest, so I'm sure he didn't destroy any of the pages. I imagine he hid them throughout the monastery. It might take you a while to find them all, but when you do, you can rest assured Ovid will return to his rightful place in the library.
Good. I'll look around for it.
Thank you, brother. It's of no great...
Can you tell me something about...
The Art of Love is a sort of manual instructing young people how to find and maintain love. It's a lovely work. I don't understand what bothered Eustace.
Where should I look?
If I knew, I wouldn't have asked you to do it. The pages of the book could be hidden anywhere.
I found a few pages of the torn up.
Wonderful. Keep looking, then.
I'd like to ask you... I'm here to work.
Good. This is most likely the first time you've ever done this in your life. But it's easier than you think. Just a bit of practice and learning Latin. Here's the original, and here are the blank parchments on which you'll copy what you read in the original. Is that clear? Then you may begin, and try not to make a mess of it. Don't even look at that cabinet. It contains forbidden books. Don't even look at that cabinet. It contains forbidden books. Don't even look at that cabinet. It contains forbidden books.
God be with you.
Oh no, such a waste of parchment. How could you?
Praise be to Christ, brother.
sin, make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since this permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be for good. It is written, in much speaking you will not escape sin. And in another, death and life are in the power of the tongue. For speaking and speaking belong to the master. The disciple's part is to be silent and to listen.
I'm Gregor and I'm new.
I know.
What does that mean?
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything's the way it should.
When it's not the way it should be?
Then we're authorized to met out punishment.
I'd like to ask you something about
expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intelligent among his disciples, but demonstrating the divine precepts by his action. Authority, let him cut out those faults by the roots as soon as they begin to appear. Remembering the fate of Heli, the priest of Silas, the well-disposed and those of good understanding, let him correct with verbal the bold, hard, proud, and disobedient characters, he should serve at the very beginning of stripes and other bodily punishments, knowing that it is written, the fool is
Talk to me, brother.
with words. And again, beat your son with the rod.
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's lab. I want you to prepare 2 marigold. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done. What would you like?
I finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor.
Salve, Domine.
What's inside? Forbidden books. Written.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting.
Oh, this is quite inexcusable, boy. Can you even read?
What troubles you?
From the 4th hour until about themselves to reading.
Peace be with you.
After the 6th hour, having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence, or if anyone may perhaps want to read, let him read to himself in such a way as not to disturb Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a task or craft of such a nature as to keep them from idleness and at the same time not to overburden them or drive them away.
tastiest morsels for themselves and give us the slop that's left over.
The food's definitely gone downhill. I remember back when we ate like kings.
And the wine. Those were the days.
You'll see.